Hello, everyone. Welcome and happy OBR Day. This is our one-shot adventure in our brilliant Revel, celebration of OBR's one-year anniversary. A huge thank you to our sponsor, Studio Hermitage, for making this possible. If you haven't already, you can pick up your own copy of Our Brilliant Ruin for free over on Drive-Thru RPG. It's jam-packed with intricate lore, beautiful full color illustrations, and all of the tools that you will need to start your own adventure in the Dramark. Content warnings for this episode include alcohol, body horror, classism, dread, monstrosities, immolation, and murder. Dun 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 dun. My name is StellaLuna. Please allow me to introduce everyone at the table for this evening. Tell me who you are, where we can find you, and a little bit about who you're playing today. And we'll start off with Jade.
Hey y'all, I'm Jade. I use Jade Valkyrie on all my social media, and I'm a content creator, cosplayer, host, as well as the community manager for Critical Role. I do many things on the internet. I love RPGs, I love esports as well, so it's a fun combination of things. And today I will be and my pronouns are she they. And today I will be playing Lorena Valgrave, who also uses she they pronouns, who is a used to be part of the aristocrats and is still around, but now has more of a focus on conservation and science.
Excellent. Thank you very much. We'll pass it on over to Dan.
Hello. Yeah, I am Domestic Dan on all of the everything on the internet. He, him is my preference, and same with who I'll be playing today. But yeah, I do all sorts of things. Specifically, my brand is like cooking and food based. I do a lot of lifestyle stuff in that regard, but I'm all over the place as well. I love tabletop RPGs, hence being here. Um, but yeah, food. Food is mostly the big passion.
Thank you. And who are you playing today?
Yes. I'll be playing Yuli Sigil Albertson, a true folk who's in the, I believe it was the glove and, oh gosh.
Love and Key.
Key. I was like, it's not thread. Thread is wrong. The glove and key. He's seniored into that. We'll put it that way.
Excellent. Thank you very much. We'll pass it on over to Fawn.
Hi, I'm Jess or Fawn. I go by Fawn in games most places online. My pronouns are they, them, and they, them only. I am a queer Canadian non-binary neurospicy variety streamer who also loves playing all sorts of TTRPGs. And so happy to be here today with all these folks. And today I am playing Zeki Hassan Coleman, who is playing a similar role to a Glove and Keys here today to support Scion Dara, and maybe also look around at what's here today. What's going on here?
Excellent. Thank you very much. And last but certainly not least, Kendo.
Hello, my name is Kendrick or Kendo, whichever you prefer. I use they, he pronouns, and I do, I guess, a lot of things. I'm the media production manager over at Kobold Press. I am the host and creator of the award-winning podcast, actual play podcast, Tales Yet Told. And I also do performance in various places, as well as a video editor and producer as well. Today I am playing Aubrey Vincent Glover Dara, or Scion Dara, whichever you prefer. And I am an aristocrat, obviously, of House Dara, a bit of a writer, creative, and imaginative sort, if you will, looking towards the future always. And I'm very excited about what what allegedly we're supposed to be finding here in this wonderful home.
Yes, allegedly is the correct word. Let us begin. Our story opens on our illustrious company inside of a carriage. bound for the Dramark countryside on a cold, frosty morning, arranged by a young woman named Madeline Rhodes. Madeline has become a quick friend to some of you, a local enthusiast you met at Introduction to Ruinous Theory at Crown Hall College. Madeline's brilliant, warm exterior has always made conversation easy for those that it matters. She always has something interesting to say. She mentioned early on in her introductions to you, several weeks ago, that she is cousin to someone who is married into the mysterious house of Astus Willow. I am so pleased you've accepted my invitation to join me in visiting my cousin, Leontina. I haven't seen them since their wedding 2 years ago, and they were quite slow to reply to my letters. They have been busy helping their wife, Lady Clarissa Attisborough. The house was generous enough for the construction of their new home for their betrothal, the Monsmith Mansion. I'm thankful for this opportunity to finally see it, especially here, with my new friends. The camera focuses on a middle-aged woman, dark skin, dark hair, pulled back into a tight bun. Madeline is well-dressed for a person of her station. She is someone who is part of the Crown Hall College as well, and that is how she met some of you. And today, you are in a carriage with her carriage. So it is not the most fancy or comfortable one, but it's serviceable enough. And in it are you. As it pans over to address those that sit in front of her, can you please describe to me what Lorena looks like?
Lorena is kind of a very kind of plain looking person. Very just middle of the road features, not ugly, not necessarily pretty either. Wears her hair in kind of like a Gibson-ish style. Dark hair, kind of loose ends curled that fall out of place, and a very nice quality attire of muted Valkyrie of color, so a very muted green as opposed to the more vibrant that folks familiar with the house would be. And she's kind of like sitting very still, very comfortable, but very still. Like it looks weird, it looks odd to other people, but she doesn't give off the air of being uncomfortable, just still.
Sitting next to you is someone who is quite close to you. Julie, can you please describe to me what you look like?
Yes. So you would see yourself a pretty well put together butler, for lack of a better term. Middle-aged, bespectacled. Looks like he has a chain for a pocket watch, and is just in general very prim and proper. It might be a bit of a contrast to Lady Valgrive at times, especially if she is in her studies and neglecting self-care for, eating, all that sort of thing. And it kind of leaves it to me to manage that and to keep up the appearances of the house that I work for.
What is your current demeanor as you are attending Lady Lorena?
I would honestly say apprehensive. It came out of nowhere, this invitation. So perhaps keeping an eye out to see if anyone's trying to climb their way up the ladder in an improper manner.
Excellent. I think this is a perfect time for us to do our first roll. We're going to jump right into it. Yuli, I would like you to do a roll of sensitivity and intrigue. See what you've come to discover about this particular trip.
Yes. Probably not much.
Okay. So your sensitivity is 1 and your intrigue is 3. Unfortunately, sorry. Is that correct? Yes. You unfortunately have rolled a 1, which is a gloom. This is going to be a failure here. You know that other people of Glove and Key are quite talkative. One of the benefits of being true folk is the sense of community. And unfortunately, Yuli, you were unable to hear any rumors or any whispers regarding Lady Clarissa, regarding Scion Leontina. Why do you think this is?
They're definitely hiding something. Definitely the main reason for the apprehension. I couldn't find anything on them. No one is clean. So if you are clean, you scrubbed information you do not want to be found. Everyone has dirty laundry. So that's a major red flag.
Sitting next to a very stiff Yuli is Zeki. Can you please describe to me what you look like?
Zeki looks like the kind of person that you're surprised when they clean up nice. And they hope they're pulling it off with the help of, with Sayondara, who perhaps goes to nicer events than they usually attend. But their clothes fits them well enough. It's very good, possibly a little new, some of the pieces. They're they're probably keeping quiet but looking around a lot, really taking note of a lot of things, and kind of sitting back a little bit and letting Sayondara take the lead a little bit on this.
I imagine even without an introduction quite yet that Sayondara is probably the most talkative out of the group. But before we introduce Aubrey, Zeki, can you please roll me sensitivity and intrigue?
Can I argue
Yeah,
or something?
absolutely.
So
So what this is for is essentially prior information, something that might be illuminating upon meeting these people and heading in this direction away from the city of Grandhurst.
Can I argue, just in theory, if someone was not supposed to be here right now, that they could in fact roll with defiance and transgress?
Absolutely. Please do so.
Okay, I got it. Oh, beats. Wow.
That's 2
Oh,
gloom,
no.
0 brill. Okay. So, I'll give you this. Zeki, you have colleagues that you know from the Rivet and Bellows Union almost a lifetime ago now. And an individual by the name of Lucian told you that there is a Silokinetic at Monsmith Mansion. Can you tell me why Lucian refused to give you more information?
Maybe because in the past, not always, but in the past, sometimes Zeki gets a little bit obsessive. A little focused, some might call it hyper focused on certain pieces of technology from the past. And some people think that's a bad thing. I don't know why. I don't know. I can't tell you.
As you're sitting here next to Aubrey and Yuli, you can't help but think about the fact that you've probably potentially burned a bridge with Lucian. You pushed a little too hard. That's sort of sitting on the edge of your mind. While Madeline looks over to Scion, Aubrey, Vincent, Glover, Dara. What do we see? Muted.
I think that this entire time, uh as like we're being given information and we're like writing down, uh Aubrey is mostly looking out of the window while having this conversation, and like to a degree where it feels like their attention is being equally split, but like in a way where it's like equally genuinely paying attention to both things. And so like as we're getting stuff, like we'll just on occasion just also be like, okay, can we get more detail though about specifically what it is that we're going to be finding there? I'm finding the lack of detail a little uninspiring, really.
Oh, and you see Madeline blushes, is essentially embarrassed that they are potentially boring you, their esteemed company. But while you look out the window, can I get a sensitivity and observe from you?
Absolutely. I have 2 in sensitivity and 1 in observe.
Perfect.
So that will be 2 personality dice, 1 skill dice.
Wow. Fantastic. 1 gloom.
Wonderful. Great day.
I will say that you are looking outside, so you do see the countryside here. Perhaps you don't think too deeply about why it looks like this, especially as your attention is split with the company. The weather in the countryside must be a little harsher than it is in the city. The surrounding flora, as you're beginning to approach the estate, seems worn and tired, perhaps bitten by the building frost. It's the turn of the season, so there is a damp, dark earth smell to the wind, and the deep, mushy scent of plants deteriorating. With the combined perfume of the present company, perhaps it doesn't quite bother you enough to think or linger too long on it. Instead, Madeline says, well, Lady Clarissa Attis Willow used to be a professor at Crown Hall College. She used to study medicine, I believe, until she met Leontina. It was love at first sight. Oh, Lady Clarissa's parents were furious that she proposed to someone outside of the circles. It was quite the affair.
Oh, I'm sure it was. Now, again, about what we are supposed to be here for.
Oh yes, it's a sort of welcoming party. They have been working on construction for nearly 2 years now, so I have not been able to visit. This is my first time to see my cousin.
So it is a silo connected, like put together working. Right?
I'm not quite sure. You can ask them yourself if you like.
Okay, sure. Okay, yeah. Okay, they didn't. Yeah, no, that's fine. And then just goes back to like looking out in the window. It's like, man, it looks bad out there.
No. It is quite cold, isn't it? And you see Madeline kind of curl in on herself, just pulling her shawl tighter. And it is about then that you hear the wagon coming to a sudden stop. And you look around. Mansion that opens up in front of you, there is a paved stone path that the carriage sidles up to the edge of this building. The mansion itself is very manicured. You can tell that from the way that the ivy climbs up along the walls, but this is actually an older construction. You are under the impression that House Astis Willow sent a bunch of money and resources over here to build a new house, but it looks as if perhaps they've refurbished an older one. The ivy is indicative that this has definitely been here 100 years or so at least. You see the hedges have been mostly maintained. Most striking thing is how quiet it is. You can hear bird and song coming from them nearby, but no one seems to be working the grounds. The mansion itself is about 2 stories tall and spans a handsome breadth. You can see that there are luscious red curtains that are pulled closed in the large windows that face the front of the house. In front of the house, waiting for you, appear to be 3 individuals. Very visibly, you can tell that one of them is from the League of Glove and Key, attending 2 aristocrats. One of them appears to be quite similar to Madeline, sporting the same hair and skin and features, the same eyes. Standing beside them is a much smaller woman. You see that she has graying hair and stormy gray eyes that are keen and hunting as she watches you. Carriage stops. Madeline looks over at Yuli almost expectantly.
I step out first and begin to aid anyone who wishes to come out with assistance.
Madeline will be the first to depart, and as she does, you can see who must be Leontina step forward, and the 2 embrace each other, and there's a happy exchange of noises and laughter. Clarissa looks on with a measure of scrutiny, first glancing at Madeline, but then to you. Who exits the carriage after Madeline?
I think Lorena would be the first to go out, just because there's a certain familiarity with getting out of carriages with Yuli. So a very calm, almost like elegant in a way, of just standing up and then immediately just walking out. I imagine Yuli's hand would already be out since they've done this a lot of times, and gently puts it on his hand and steps out gingerly.
As you begin to come up, Lorena, you can catch some of the close conversation that Leontina and Madeline share. Leontina says, "Good cousin, it is so wonderful to see you. We haven't had a proper opportunity to entertain guests. I can sense that maybe Leontina is unwell. She seems to be shaking a bit the way that Madeline is holding them. Please excuse the mess." They nod over to Lorena. "We are a bit delayed in schedule."
That's no problem. I'm just very curious about everything.
Who exits after Lorena?
Zeki will be assuming, since Yuli already went out in the front, that this is a practical thing and they should wait and go out at the end and, you know, like, make sure everyone has exited safely. So definitely, like, gives a nod, like, to Dara, like, are you like...
Oh, yes, of course. and Dar Ari steps out of steps out of it next, and I think it is a bit of a jarring thing, as there is so little grace about the way in which he moves, and is also wearing like seasonally inappropriate and like just completely strange, like a silk robe, and what amounts to like kind of just like a white, pink and blue cloth shirt that is showing like open and showing skin in a V in a way that's completely inappropriate, and is wearing what amounts to like a bathrobe and like an open like shirt with like bangles and rings and jewelry and such, and kind of steps out with their glasses looking around, and like first words out of their mouth is, "No help around here, is there?"
You would have definitely walked past Yuli's hand out for you.
Completely moved over your hand, like it did not stop.
No eye contact, just...
Your words draw the attention of the 2 in embrace and also Clarissa. You see Clarissa's eyes snap towards you, Aubrey, specifically. Her eyes are shiny and dark. The main floor has been prepared for your arrival, but we are still working on the west wing and basement. My spouse has told me a great number of things through Madeline's letters. What curious company you have.
Yes, yeah, yes. Well, I mean, yes. Yes, curious indeed. A lot of things are curious. Lots of things are curious. And just like look like uninterested in this conversation anymore. And just like starts like just walking towards the rest of the group, just looking around, muttering, curious, curious, yes.
Lorena? Muted?
You mute it.
That's what the orange boy did. He pressed the tap to mute. Lovely. So I know in the description that we kind of see that this is like a very work in progress area, but I'm curious to see kind of like with the two, both the cousin and their spouse, like their appearance and what is missing there. So I'm trying to use my competency as a true folk to kind of get more of a whole picture, if you will.
Yes. So Lorena being true folk, she gets true folk competency, which is something that no matter what the circumstances are, that she is trained and experienced enough in it that they will succeed. As you invoke it, what is missing here? You look between Leontina, Clarissa, and Madeline. You can tell that both Clarissa and Leontina are a bit on the sickly side, that they seem sort of pale, their hair seems to be somewhat brittle. Clarissa is more straight-backed and firmly standing there, while Leontina is subtly leaning into their cousin. You can hear the two of them muttering, I'm sorry, quietly, privately. Then they begin to break the embrace as they shift more to a welcoming sort of arrangement in front of you.
In that case, Lorena, I think that has kind of, after exiting, has kind of been onto the side a little bit. Not really sure because they're not as close with everyone, besides Yuli, and then taps Yuli. Remind me to make that tea that's supposed to, I don't know, get your immune system right. Seems that the both of them are pretty sick, and I don't want to miss any research time.
Rose hip. Yes. Good. I can prepare that.
Thank you.
Zeki, how do you exit?
Zeki will refrain from jumping out of the carriage. But will give, like, assuming Yuli has moved on to helping his mistress at this point. Yeah. Does try and exit the carriage somewhat gracefully and just like close the door behind it and kind of pat it like, you're done, you can go, you know, like, off with you now.
The driver takes the hint and begins to maneuver it so that it's out of the way.
And then goes to catch up with Aubrey, who I think is just looking at Zeki is similarly gonna just go over and start taking in as much as possible.
Okay.
As Zeki, as you move closer to me, I just kind of lean in and go, this place is, it's weird. It's weird. Good weird, little silent, quiet, dying kind of weird, but good, potentially.
Well, it certainly was something, and now it's lesser. So what have they been spending their time and effort and resources on?
Yeah. Great questions. Wonderful questions. Hopefully answers soon.
You can see that Madeline begins to gesture over to Lorena and says, Good cousin, I want to introduce you to some of my friends. This is Lady Lorena Valgrieve. And she puts a bit of an emphasis on your last name. I think both you and Aubrey catch that immediately. And this is Scion Aubrey Vincent Glover Dara.
Nice to meet you.
And she doesn't even bother introducing Yuli and Zeki. Clarissa sort of nods a bit. You can tell that she's very stiff and uncomfortable. She keeps snapping her eyes between the company and Leontina in a sort of private way and says very tersely, "Please follow me." And with that, everyone begins to maneuver into the house. Oh, sorry, wrong one. Crossing the threshold into the Monsmith Manor, you can see that the first thing you notice is how clean it is. There are marble floors and pillars that create an extensive lobby before you. In this lobby, you can see that there are pots where fresh flowers will go soon. And you can see that there are a number of art pieces scattered throughout on tables, hanging from walls, hanging from tapestries, strewn about in preparation for arrival. It seems that the main floor is, in fact, being prepared, but it lacks a sort of substance, a sort of life. It remains quiet indoors, and as the group of you shuffle inside, you can hear your footsteps. Moving along, you can see that Leontina is gesturing over to the different thresholds that you passed by. Yes, this is the way to the guest rooms. The hunting lodge is over here. The reading lodge, the washrooms, kitchens, and the ballroom, of course.
How rushed does everything look? I know you said it's sparse and things are getting close to being done, but rushed and or cheap is what I'm curious on.
Ooh, let's get a roll here. I think decorum would be appropriate. You can do observe or intuit, depending on whether you'd like to go off of more of a vibe check or more of an appraisal.
Probably more appraisal, I think.
Okay.
Yes. In that case, that would be observe in your mind?
Yes.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay, then.
Okay, that is 6 Brill. In our Brilliant Ruin, when you have 3 or more Brills, this is called a triumph. Essentially, you absolutely dominate this check. You're looking around for an appraisal, a keen eye. You have been doing this for a long time, and you are well aware of everything that is in the possession of the House of Valgrieve that you call home. It is perhaps your job in certain cases to make sure your home is in order, and when you're in someone else's home, you are a master at telling where they are failing. And this house is failing, even before it's begun. You look around and there is this distinct lack of that special touch. The touch of someone who knows what they're doing. The touch of glove and key. You saw the attendant out front with both Clarissa and Leontina, presumably help. You saw them move to go help with the bags, and they didn't come inside. There's also no one else to see around here. The pieces of art that are on display, they are genuine. They are valuable. The infrastructure of this place, there's no order. There's no hierarchy. This is an empty home. And immediately, I presume this would put you on edge.
This is a veneer, nothing more. I definitely do not like that at all. No help, no one from Glove and Key. This is not what the aristocracy is about.
And because this is a triumph, I'll give you something a little extra. You are able to determine that there is a persistent low hum coming from the walls. It is very subtle. The sound of people talking, it might be muffled out, but you catch this.
I keep that to myself for the moment, but that is very interesting.
Leontina comes to a stop near one of the thresholds and gestures. This is our reading lounge. Inside you will find a gallery and our library. I assume that you would like to rest for a little bit before we take you to your guest rooms. Later on in the evening, we will have a feast for you and, of course, entertainment in the ballroom.
Good. Yes, library. We can just use this.
Of course, please make yourselves at home.
Hey, yes. And then like immediately just like walks past this person and into the library and immediately starts just like a quick scan of the library, seeing kinds of books, like variety of like different like subject matter of books in this library, and also like very like trying to see how many of these are like old historical texts versus a new thing that someone has written or something in that area.
Okay. At a glance, you would need to roll for this. You see that it is mostly medical texts, scientific, biology, botany, some flora, fauna catalogs. A lot of material that covers those areas of study. But if you want to glean a little more, you absolutely can. Can I get a sensitivity and intuit check?
Sensitivity into it. Okay. Yeah, I can do that. My sensitivity is 2, my intuit is 1. That's 1 success.
Very good. You are able to tell that from the age of the books and their condition that they are probably quite old, that this is a pretty extensive collection, a valuable collection. There are some rare books here that have eluded you even in your searches and your path to experiencing things. And it's quite impressive. General reading lounge itself is also garishly and overdressed. You see that there are a number of statues, there are things hanging from the curtains, gold embellishments liberally applied. There's also a fireplace that is currently unattended.
So it's like not going whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. It's just cold
Sure.
in the room.
I immediately start taking books, like the books. I'm like, oh yes, I want to read that one, and it's just immediately collecting books to spend time reading during the more boring parts of this visit.
Okay. As Aubrey goes to make himself comfortable, who's the next to enter?
The library?
Yes.
I think Zeki definitely looks between the overall group and looks between Aubrey, who they're somewhat attending, and probably does an improper sort of like kind of like bobs and like maybe even like clicks their heel in almost military fashion, like the wrong maneuver, but just kind of like acknowledges everyone and then goes in after Aubrey.
Okay. Yuli, Can I get a decorum observe check from you?
Yes.
Why?
Outed
Why?
immediately.
Why?
What do you mean? They
Okay.
Something is not like the others here.
Mhm.
Okay. So that is 1 Brill, 1 Gloom. I don't think I can take that away from you. Unfortunately, you do clock this immediately that Zeki is definitely from a different kind of branch, maybe, of Glove and Key. Something very, 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 very different from the formal education that you have gone through. You can tell that there is a sort of trust between Zeki and Aubrey, a sort of lack of formality that indicates that there is a relationship there.
Yeah, that is. I'll have to figure out what branch that is later because they're clearly not teaching the right thing.
maybe we're more modern, you know? Like maybe it's like
What are they
Get with the
teaching over
times.
at House Dara?
Star has gone downhill in the last few years, apparently.
People are always saying that, and we're still here.
Roaches are too.
Zeki,
Nice.
you see as you enter in after Aubrey that there is a very interesting device up near the window. It appears to be sort of a metallic box that comes up to about hip height, and then there is a wooden device mounted on top.
Zeki will once again feign attending Aubrey for a moment. But also make it very clear, you know, like clearly Aubrey is entertaining themselves. Like they're doing good. So then kind of trying not to act too eager. You know, kind of like well almost just kind of stroll the room a little bit, almost as if to take it in. To be of better service. Obviously. It's all part of the work. I'm working so hard right now. And then make their way towards the box and try not to look directly at it right away.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Kind of like maybe stand in front of it. Maybe even is it on like you said? It's kind of like ledge height.
Yeah, it's about like torso height.
Maybe almost like put their hands behind their back, almost like they're like you know standing up very straight, and then like try touching it from behind to see if they can kind of glean anything.
Go ahead and roll me a sensitivity and intuit here as you use your hands to try to figure out what this is.
May I argue?
Yes,
Do
please
you
do. Please do.
We are here for a specific purpose, and this is along the lines of it's looking like the first hint at something we're interested in here. So may I argue? I'll into it. Makes so much sense. But what about obsession? Just if someone was obsessed with this kind of thing.
Absolutely. That's perfect.
Okay. Beans and crackers. No failures this time, though.
Yes, a mediocre roll across the board. So with this, I think you will be able to figure it out with some time. You just need some time to put your hands on it, quite literally. You can essentially feel with your hand behind your back that there is a sort of needle attached to it, an arm. There's this strange black disc that's on top. It's a bit uncertain what exactly this is or its function, but you begin to explore with your hands. As you do, you see Clarissa at the front of the room say, "We will join you later. There are some matters we need to attend. Please make yourselves comfortable," she says quite flatly, looking over at Aubrey. And then, without really much, she just continues away. Leontina and Madeline share a sort of bittersweet exchange here, looking at each other deeply in the eyes, clasping each other on the elbows. But then they detangle and they step away. Madeline slowly wanders in. Ah, well, not what exactly I was expecting, but it is still quite nice.
Nice is certainly a word for it. Dry, cold, desolate, sanitary. All other words I would also probably use.
Oh, you are correct. She looks kind of helplessly over at the fire and looks between Zeki and Yuli. Do you mind? It is quite cold in here.
I definitely make a pointed look at Zeki.
If if Yuli does not make a move and gives Zeki a look, they will snap too, and they'll be like, of course, I got this. Let me be of service to you," and like go over and attempt to create a fire with what they have here. Do they have everything necessary
Yes.
to? Okay.
You can tell that
All
this was lit recently, like maybe in the last day or two, but definitely not today. And all the tools are there, and you don't need to roll for this or anything like that. But you do notice something in the ashes.
Can I try and take it without, like, while I'm, like, fix a log here, put something in here, slide that in the pocket, like, and then go back to, like...
Yes. I think that this will be cunning and...
craft, because I'm being crafty?
So craft is essentially...
Beans?
Yeah, I think that would still work because you are manipulating physical items. You're moving the logs, so that would work.
Yeah, because I am building the fire at the same time.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Finally, 2 successes. There we
Two
go.
brills.
Yay, let's
Perfect.
go.
You pick up what appears to be the corner of a letter. The letter is mostly burnt away, so you can't see what the contents were written on there. You absolutely have intact a complete wax seal, and it bears the seal of House Belafine. You know that House Belafine is known for their strictness, their sense of duty, their sense of preparedness. If there were such thing as like preppers, they would probably be kind of close to that. There is no such thing as a military army in the Dramark, but they definitely have things in order where if they needed to get physical force organized in a short period of time, they have the people to call for that.
Okay. So yeah, I would like to take as much as I can from that, but like maybe save looking at the details of the letter for later, because I'm definitely trying to set up this fire as proper as possible so Yuli doesn't burn through the back of my head with the stare that I feel like is happening right now.
Most definitely, yes.
Oh,
I think that while this is happening, Lorena is kind of put out a notebook and a writing utensil that she's had. She has a very small satchel with her, and just started going to town writing something very fearlessly. So a lot of her focus is on there. Every once in a while, she'll kind of like check in to see like with her friends if really they're doing okay. But she's a bit busy at the moment.
Are there amenities here? Drinks? Anything of any kind?
there are not. And when this thought crosses your face, Madeline looks at you and it seems that the two of you are thinking the same thing. Perhaps I should go see what I can do for amenities.
That would be appreciated. Yes.
If they have tea, that would be lovely.
Of course. Do you have a specific kind that you would like?
It is sort of late, so no caffeine, non-caffeinated tea, please.
Yes, of course. And Madeline begins to step off, leaving the four of you all alone in this illustrious, gaudy reading lounge.
As soon as I have the books, I just moved immediately to like one of the seating like arrangements, and I like plop some books to the side, and I open one up, um, and like try to angle myself in a way where the light of the fire that Zeki is making is like illuminating it slightly. And just immediately like just starts like like picking like a random like let's say like a book on anatomy and
Mhm.
and physiology, and just like starts like reading through it like it's like a book to be read through.
So you get comfortable, you nestle down and you pull up this book and you start thumbing through it. You find a nice page with a brilliant illustration on it. You quickly discover that there are scribbles in the margins on most of the pages, and the stuff that is there doesn't make any sense to you.
Like just starts flipping through it, and then like just not to anyone specifically, but just like as like a vocal like a verbal thing to do is like this 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 is nonsense. Absolute nonsense. None of this. This is Zeki, and like just like start waves you over.
Zeki is very happy for this cue. They have finished making the fire. They've made sure they're clean. They give Yuli a little like a little like hope that's satisfactory, and then moves along to their person who they're attending. That's definitely what's happening here.
Yep.
And and goes over and moves in. What did you find?
Like, what? This is nothing. This is nothing. This is nonsense. And we'll just take one of the books and kind of shove it in your hand. Look through that. Is there more bullshit in there?
Yes.
Yes, it does seem to be more of the same, but what's this over here? I'm gonna slip the letter that I found in the fireplace into Aubrey's book. I'm like, oh, what's that note right there? As I like slide the letter in.
Yeah, and I just take a look at it.
Yes. So there aren't any words written on it. It's basically just a really small scrap of paper, but you see the seal of House Belafine.
What is this? What is it? Just like looking. There is not an ounce of subtlety or
Trying to be so
sound to
slick
it.
over here.
And it's just like what
Please.
is this? What is this? You handed me an empty piece of paper. What is this?
As it's shown to the others, essentially, just to the room, Yuli and Lorena, you also clock that this is a seal of House Belafine.
Since this has occurred now, I will explain to everyone, because I don't want to seem like I was hiding this, even though I was. I'm gonna act like I didn't know exactly what was happening instead and be like, oh, while I was building the fire, I found that. Which is true.
Which is true.
Interesting. So,
Why would they?
a letter?
There's nothing on it.
Well, I hope not. It was burned.
Yeah.
How's Belafine? Oh,
Why burn a
What?
letter?
and why are they
Trying
sending a
to
letter
hide
here?
something.
This is too unkempt for them. Why would they do dealings here?
Would Stella, and I'm not sure if this would be a role or just general knowledge, would Loretta know of like any dealings in between these two houses? Are they known to deal with each other in various ways, or?
So, with the various houses, they span a great number of people. There are a lot of aristocrats that have different estates underneath the names of the families. So it could boil down to like, oh, this could be something harmless, unsure. But you do know it are the overarching sort of vibes and intentions and virtues of the different houses. For example, for both Aubrey and Lorena, you would know that House Astis Willow has a lot of old money. It's a joining of two families that, though that sort of thing is very chaotic, it also has its perks. Lots and lots of money. Money to throw at being very different social creatures that have to navigate all the difficulties of that. House Belafine, they are very blunt. They are not subtle. They don't do the dance and play around in the shadows and all of that. So to see a house that is diametrically opposed sending a letter to the other, that's definitely suspicious.
This does seem very odd. And it's something they want to hide. And they were sickly. I don't really know House Belafine for being doctors or anything philanthropic, if you will.
Yeah. Why? What? Do I know of any? Um, being that Stylokinetics is my special interest, would I know of any potential interest that House Belafine has had like recently that might intersect with the little that I know about a lot of the funding that went into this house?
Yeah, on surface, you of course would not know what kind of details might be going on here, but
Yeah.
Psilokinetics in general are kind of a hot button topic because they are this thing that has essentially been mostly lost to the ages. Not everyone knows very much about them. They are very difficult to control, they're difficult to maintain, they're difficult to build and use. Most of them are broken down. But those that do still work do have a place in the city. They can vary from doing water filtration to harvesting crops, and in general, having something with that sort of manpower essentially is useful to anyone for anything. So the idea that there's a Psilokinetic here, or at least by rumor, that's going to be anybody's interest, really. You would know that this rumor is very hush. It wasn't exactly advertised. Also, you're very far away from the city right now.
In my mind, there are few reasons to burn a letter, right? 1, emotion. 2, hiding things. 3, maybe something else. But initial thoughts, either there was already a connection between these two houses. Perhaps Astus Willow had something that they wanted out of House Belafine, and House Belafine said no, and out of anger you burn the letter. Or maybe House Belafine wants something from House Astus Willow, and they didn't want to give it, and so you burn the letter out of emotion. Or there is something working together, and you would like to hide that information from other people. Thoughts, Zeki?
Need more information. Good starting point, but what else? You know, it feels very give me more.
Yes, there is a lot. Yes, Lorena.
If I may, I do think that they are already hiding so much.
Very true.
They are.
Yuli, do you have noticed anything?
Yes. One, very little staff. I do not know how they are maintaining this place. That is the main concern. It's a veneer. This is gaudy. This is cheap. You can see the paintings. They're old. They've been here some time, but that was. No, it is not all the money like Isis Willow would have. That is off. They have purchased that quickly and cheaply. Possibly made in somewhere else.
The only other thing I did notice, if you quiet yourself and ignore and tune out the fire, you might hear a low hum. Something is in the midst of the house that is adding something.
As Yuli says this, I imagine a hush comes over the room. You listen. You listen carefully. You hear it. It's in the walls. It's coming from the glass. Zeki, as you look at the glass, you being a former Rivet and Bellows union worker, you are quite familiar with engineering and construction, and as such, you have had your own fair share of helping build windows, either designing them or implementing them. You realize that this window leading out of this room is quite large. It's very stately. It's reinforced. This is not ordinary glass. The hum that's coming off of the glass, it's resonating from the bones of the house.
Can I go over and inspect? Does it seem like when you say it's reinforced, is it reinforced to protect from without? Or is it reinforced to keep in?
Go ahead and roll me. Sensitivity and observe or craft.
Okay.
What a great
Not gonna argue with you
question.
this time. I've argued with you every time.
No. That's part of the game system. I basically want to float an option to you, but if you feel like, especially because this game is designed where when you do a check, you choose a personality and you choose a skill, I would love to defer to if you think one of the other options for you would be more fitting for your character. That's just like if you can't argue with anything better, just go by this with default.
Then if it makes sense, because we're kind of working together, because we're kind of like everyone is throwing thoughts out there, like, and we're all proposing possibilities. Does ingenuity make sense? Like we're trying to, if that makes sense, then ingenuity craft is okay. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
Try one more time to do better this time. I've never succeeded.
Woo!
1 success and 3 failures.
Okay, so this is unfortunately still a catastrophe.
Cool.
Okay, so this is what happens. You look at it, you put your hand on it, you can feel the vibrations. 100%, this is meant to keep something in.
Yeah.
And as you touch it, you realize the whole wall is reinforced. That the whole room is reinforced. You remember seeing windows like this on the whole front of the house, presumably the whole house exterior. I think the catastrophe here is that, and of course you can veto this however you like, repurpose it however you like. I imagine you are very overt about this because this is troubling information. So describe to me how you make it absolutely unsubtle that you are doing this, and it is in a way that draws attention to you.
Yeah, I think Zeki at this point is way too interested, and so like they have been trying their best to like like play a role. But at this point, everyone throwing out these ideas and this place is so weird, and like also, when Yuli points out the hum of the whole house, that's not normal. And so they're fully doing like a knock along the walls until they get to the window. They're like listening in. They're doing some stuff where they're obviously here for something else. Like it's just too clear at this point. And also I think at the point where they make the realization, they just turn to the group and they're like, yep, this is not good. everything here is built to keep what's inside in. Has anyone checked? Like the door to the library is still open, right? That hasn't. I'm asking the GM. This is off.
Yes.
The door isn't
So it's
closed.
basically an open archway. There is no door. So you can look out
Okay.
into the hall if you wanted.
Yeah. Okay, so I look out into the hall. Are there any like weird bolts or anything on the door? Like, are there any like?
So you look out the archway. The room opposite of where you are also doesn't have a door, but you can see that the front door is closed, and there's a set of stairs that lead up, and the hall continues towards like the kitchens, where presumably Madeline went.
Okay, so yeah, I just turn back into the group and I say, you know how it from the outside, you said everything looks kind of false and like subpar. They don't have help. There's no people here. This house is not built to withstand force from the outside, weather and normal occurrences. This house is built such that what is in might not leave if they don't wish for it to. I don't know what that means, but that's that. I've only seen this built on, I don't know, what would you say, like prisons or asylums or, sorry, is that?
Going to take a quicker look at this. And Lorena's gonna like probably like look very closely than she hasn't before at everything, especially the glass that Zeki was looking at. And I'd like to roll to kind of see if this technology is familiar in any way, because of House Valkyrie sometimes having interesting creatures around and the research beyond that. So if I can pitch obsession and intuit for this one, would that work?
Yes, please roll.
Okay. Awesome. And the amount of dice that I have is the amount that I have in these skills, correct?
Yes. So your obsession is 3 and your intuit is 3. So you would roll 6 dice.
Okay, 66.
Okay. So you have 1 brill and 3 gloom. This is a catastrophe. So
Yeah.
I will say 100%, being from House Valgrave, you get this for free. You know what enclosures look like. And this definitely feels like an enclosure. I imagine that in some way you are familiar with enclosures and you are familiar with this sort of environment. Can you describe to me how Lorena becomes uncomfortable with this, visibly, not subtly whatsoever?
Lorena's base state is very still, very proper, but not in like an uptight way. That's just her base state, if you will. Because of the kind of the roles being reversed from observing animals to becoming something that might be observed, she visibly tenses, and it's like not a graceful tense. It's like very much like ick in a way. Like it's very sharp. So her shoulders are like hunching up. Her hands are like really close to her body, and she's now wildly looking around the room. Very not base Lorena at all. Probably had not seen this before, except maybe Yuli has.
Oh yeah, no. I am immediately on one knee next to you. Like,
Do you need anything? What is wrong?
We are in an enclosure. We are the exhibits, or we are a part of an exhibit. This is entirely unfounded. What have we gotten ourselves into?
As you say that, there's a sudden crash coming from the direction of the kitchen. You hear a blood-curdling scream that could only be coming from Madeline, and the sound of snarling and gore, viscera squishing in the distance.
I think it may be the second one.
Oh dear.
Muted.
Kendo, you're muted.
That sounded bad. It sounded really bad. Zeki, and it starts just picking up books to hand to them to hold.
Zeki takes some books, but also moves over to the fireplace to get a weapon, like is fully grabbing something sharp and hard and pointy and like and does make a move somewhat towards the like not is not gonna like run over, but is gonna start to walk towards the door and look out towards the kitchen and also look back at everyone like, are we staying here or are we going to look what happened there?
You peer past the threshold, and the way that the hall looks is essentially it's broken into 3 parts. You have hallway going stretching back, then you have stairs that go up, and then you have another hallway stretching back. The hallway that's closest to you, in the far end of it, you see a body on the ground, and you don't see what's pulling it. But slowly, the body gets drug out of line of sight.
We need to move. There is no way to barricade this room. We need to move.
But Zeki, hear me out, Zeki.
Nope.
But
Take what you want now, and
we don't know what it is yet. What if
it is dragging her body. We have but a moment until it comes to find us. Whatever it is, I don't know what it is. But
We
you
could find
said
out. We could
yourself,
find out.
sorry, milady, but this is an enclosure and we are in it.
But it's probably more for that thing, whatever that is, more than us, right? I imagine we could just okay, fine. If we want to run, we can run. But I would like for us to get just like a nice look at it before we leave, if possible. If we can even leave. If it is an enclosure for us, we're here.
All right, well, I'll start heading up the front and you come along when you're ready and we'll see how this goes.
By front, do you mean you run towards the front door?
No, I'm not. I really think that Zeki's first thought was we are already locked in here and is
Okay.
more curious. Down the hall is out. The other room also has no door. I am looking for somewhere we can find safety. And I'm assuming up the stairs is the closest option.
Do you remember Clarissa mentioning that there is a west wing and then that there is also a basement?
And a hunting lodge.
Yes. Presumably the hunting lodge is the other open area across the hall.
If the West Wing isn't complete, it's possible that that lack of completion is a lack of fortification.
Possible
correct.
opening.
Possible opening.
We also need to defend ourselves.
Zeki holds up the like weapon they already have.
I
and
think
say, you know.
I take one of the larger books from the stack of books I've handed you. This one's hefty.
Yeah, it's like an almanac or something.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely grabbed nothing, but I will be in front of Lady Valgrieve the whole time.
Okay. It sounds like everyone is moving out of the room. Zeki, you at the forefront, you kind of glance over your shoulder as everyone huddles together following your lead. You have this one last moment where your eyes pinpoint at that bizarre machine on the other side of the room.
So sad. I missed out on checking
No
that.
idea what it is. Never seen anything like it. What secrets and mysteries do you have? Unfortunately, you have to let that go for now. You have more pressing things to worry about. So, do you want to go A, towards the kitchen, B, down the hall the other way, which is presumably the west wing, C, the hunting lodge, or D, upstairs?
I think with everyone discussing that the West Wing sounds like a very plausible, like either we can find a way out or maybe there's an opening or maybe something's there. I'm gonna just turn and confirm since pretenses aside now, like, I just need to confirm the West Wing would be that way, right? Yes?
That is west.
Okay, let's go.
I do have a question.
Yes.
Would I have any idea for this kind of building where they would have shown whatever psilokinetic they were going to have?
Ooh, okay, yes. You, with your brilliant understanding of how houses are and continue to be, I'll give you this for free too. You know that there are generally secret walls and essentially like service tunnels between walls so that people can essentially move between them without being seen, without disrupting any parties. You would also know that there was definitely a garage. It was probably around the back of the house, but that's where the carriage had gone. And if there's any larger psilokinetics, maybe there's something in the garage. That's where automobiles are stored. Maybe it's in the basement.
Do we wish to try to get to the carriage? I know that would be instead of going upstairs and there's no way out without going out a window that you said is reinforced. There could also be service tunnels, and there's likely a basement. It might hold that psilokinetic, and that may be related.
As long as it's not towards where the body just got dragged away, I'm open to it.
I don't know if you'll even be able to outrun said thing, so transportation will probably be lovely.
Yes. I will begin looking around for servant entrances.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me either sensitivity or decorum plus observe.
Okay, I'll do decorum.
Ooh. Okay. I do want to remind everyone that we do have passion as a resource if you want to use it. Essentially, what passion does is you have a tracker, you have a finite number of passion uses, and one at a time, when you use one, it will give you an additional 2d6. And also, if you hit a 5, it makes it count as a success as well. Do you want to invoke passion here? I imagine things are quite dire.
For a five to be a success, yes. Yes.
Okay,
I
so
would
go
love
ahead and
to.
roll an additional 2 die. Okay, that makes 3 successes. Very good. So, Yuli, describe to me how you find the secret door that's in this room. It's essentially like hidden between 2 bookcases. You don't have to move anything. It's just a matter of like pushing it and then slipping inside.
Yeah, I've probably been in a building, like of a manner of this, like almost foundation. They haven't changed anything, and it's over 100 years old. So I've probably seen very similar architecture, and I take these tunnels all the time, especially when showing new staff. I don't take them for work, but I usually know where they are. So I would be doing the ear up against the walls and knocking in places I would think it should be, and maybe only after a few knocks, I hear a hollow thud and begin feeling and find wherever the switch is to open said door.
You open the door, and essentially you find a very tight crawl space. You can walk through it one by one pretty easily, and it essentially seems to have access to the entirety of the house. So you could potentially maneuver to the other side of the house, closer to the west wing, without being exposed to the hallway.
Here, I can get us to the west wing, closer to the garage, closer to maybe the basement, but at least away, and we will not be exposed.
I have always wanted to know what it looked like in there. Yes, let's go. Let's go.
Cramped is how it looks.
Really?
I will take the lead this time, but wait until Lady Valkyrie is behind me.
Yeah, I'll take the back since you know where you're going.
Okay.
Been my
Red is
suggestion.
very close behind.
As the group of you are moving through the walls, you can hear on the other side, you can't see anything, but you hear scratching. You hear long nails carving into wood. You hear squelching. There's no telling what could be happening outside, but you quickly and quietly move throughout. However, being in the walls, the hum is so much louder. You can audibly hear it now. You can hear it between the crunching of what must be bone and sinew. Aubrey and Zeki. It is in this moment that you both realize, this being a dark space, there's a little bit of light coming from the walls on either side of you. You realize a house is the Silokinetic.
Felt it in my bones. I think as like we're going through and I'm just like putting my hands on the walls and like feeling and like hearing the sound, slowly having this realization. There's like a, as we're walking, like I'm now like tapping full of like energy now, with like brimming with like, oh my god, what is all of this? And then I lean forward towards Lorena, who's in front of me, and I go, do you know what this is?
A cramped space?
Oh, no. It's more than a cramped space. It's better than a cramped space. In fact, this is perhaps the best kind of cramped space that we could be in right now.
A safe space?
Oh, no. Far from safe. Actually, we are probably in the most danger we have been in our entire lives.
You hear a
Can he hear us, I wonder? Can he... Hello? Can you hear... House?
Wait,
have a
you don't
name.
need to tell me.
Oh,
The-
yes.
The house. Oh,
Yes. Oh, yes. It explains absolutely nothing about any of the other... Well, I mean, it explains some of the stuff. It's supposed to... What is the purpose of a house that is mobile? Or moving? Hungry? Desire? Does it have desire? Do autonomous things... Zeki, do autonomous things have desire?
So you would know that Silokinetics don't all have to like be moving things. There's definitely this implies, because it's so large, it probably has moving things inside of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
We don't know everything about them, but this one certainly is gonna be something new.
Oh, yes. Fascinating. Something so large, so terrible, but something that House Bellefiend didn't want anything to do with, or did want something to do with, or had a part in it. Lots of options.
It's at this time you see the wall in front of you explode. You draw back just enough time to see that the drywall has crushed as something has barreled through. You are able to look out into the hallway on either side as this hulking shape is now on the right side of you. And up ahead, you see that the crawl space has been ruined. You will have to crawl out to the left or to the right. You have no choice.
are you alright?
Oh, yes. Let me see. I think I want to, and this is due to Jade's recommendation, I'm going to use a portfolio.
Okay.
Specifically, information. I continuing to go off of before with the servant tunnels.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to remember and piece together what I would think of with a blueprint of a building like this. It's Silokinetic, so it might be different, but I'm trying to piece together, would left get us closer to our destination or right? And with that is where I would go.
Okay. Yes. So portfolio are points that you can use as a resource at any time to resolve what could be potentially a test. And when you burn them, essentially, you will succeed in that fashion. So please mark your information portfolio to 0, and you recall your previous information here, and you are able to tell that if you go to the left, you would probably head into the kitchen. If you go to the right, you will probably come out into the hallway near the west wing. So the direction of whatever the fuck that was is over there.
Then to the kitchen it is. So the kitchen is this way. It is away from that thing. And I turn and start going that direction.
Okay.
So just to double check though, it went past, like it charged so hard that it came through and kept going.
Yes.
All right. Is there any way to block the path behind us as we go?
You could potentially find something, you know.
Nah, not if there's not, like, it just barreled through the walls. So like if there's nothing worthwhile that's either instantaneous or I know strong enough to be worthwhile, then like not bother, keep moving. I'm just keeping an eye then on our behinds.
You do have portfolio. You could use tools and equipment here. Essentially, you could potentially like push one of the cabinets to block the hole. It might slow it down at least.
I will save my tools in case we find anything to control this living house thing.
Okay, perfect. As everyone scrambles out into the kitchen, you see a smattering of gore on the ground. What appears to be partially the fabric of what Madeline had been wearing and very little else. You see that the kitchen is in disarray. Whatever this was, there is this strange, thick, viscous ichor spread across, some kind of thick, bubbly fluid expelled onto the countertops. You see it essentially littering across the tools and what was a half-prepared meal.
I'm almost instinctively putting my hand either over or in front of Lady Lorena and her eyes so that she does not have to see that.
Ooh. Oh, that's.
Ignore it. Go ahead.
Wait, I think I saw, and I'm just going to like gingerly put the hand just a little bit down. I'm a little scared, but I'm peeking over. What is that liquid? And I would like to see if to investigate that a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. You will have to get a lot closer to it, but go ahead and roll me. I think it would make sense in this capacity to do obsession and either intuit or observe.
Okay. I think that my intuit is better. Yes. Okay. 66.
Okay. That is.
Can I use passion?
Yes. So go ahead and roll 2d6.
2d6.
Okay. Perfect. That's still good. That's still good. It turns your 2 5s into successes. So you have 2 successes and 2 failures here. You can describe to me how you go about this, but, and passionately is the key word here, but you are able to tell that this is a byproduct biologically from a creature of ruin. How do you explore this?
Yeah, I think that what once was this kind of like a gentle, like very much peeking over Yuli's hand, kind of turns into seeing roughly what it is. She gets like excited, and starts just kind of honing in on it. It's like, if I may, please, I need to look at this first. I'll be very, very quick. And she kind of jolts forward onto like to get to the countertop, and kind of grabs the edge of her shirt and gently just kind of puts in a little bit onto seeing what it looks like on the shirt, holding it close to her eye. And a moment it dawns on her that this is not necessarily the same creature, but in the conservation efforts, some of the creatures that she was observing did eventually get ruined, and there was a similar effect to some of those creatures. This is not psilokinetic, but a creature. A ruined creature. If that wasn't obvious already. And kind of like wipes that off of the sleeve too.
At the mention of ruin, light sort of clicks in everyone's head. It is common knowledge the best ways to fight ruin: alcohol for purification and burning, and fire for burning.
We're in the kitchen looking for like the strongest, liquors they have.
There is some cleaning agent, which is essentially the same thing, in a nearby cabinet.
Just one?
Does anyone have matches?
I mean, we did start a fire already.
We'd have to go back, and that may not be a good idea. But the cleaning agent is a good idea. Is this a gas stove or fire stove? Or wood stove?
It is a wood stove.
So there's probably some fire
Yeah.
starting kit as well here.
Mm-hmm. It's at this time you hear another crash coming from the direction that you crawled into, and you behold, perhaps for the first time in your life, this amalgamation of meat, of parts of human beings. Too many arms, too many eyes, a slash between the gibbard where there is essentially teeth. Rows and rows of teeth. This creature that reeks of death, smearing blood and this strange dark liquid, sets its sights on you. This
I'm
is
trying to start a fire as immediately as possible.
okay.
And if I'm not good at it, I'm not good at it, but I'm
Can Zeki be like, excuse me, may I have this? And like take the fire starter from you?
Oh yeah. Then I'll just grab the cleaning agent.
Yeah,
See who
so-
set that down.
We are going to enter initiative, and initiative is determined by rolling. Sorry, not rolling. You add your attributes together. I've already pre-done this for everybody. So for this certain scenario, we are going to have your sensitivity plus your observe. Yuli, you are at 3. Aubrey, you're at 3. Lorena, you're at 1, and Zeki, you are at 0. This creature has a rating of 2, so it will go between Aubrey and Lorena. Let me add that here. So this is essentially what we can do in order, and you just tell me what you do, and then I'll tell you what to roll. So Yuli, you're by the fire. You have used the fire kit. Is that what you said?
No, I was about to, and then Zeki was
Well,
going to take it
I
from me.
literally was asking. So if like you have a moment to, if you want to keep it, I will not remove it from your hands. I'm reaching.
You said you grabbed the cleaning agents, right?
Yeah, I was grabbing that, and then are you
So-
gonna do a swap, like a straight
Yeah,
swap?
absolutely. Yes, just swap the cleaning agent and the fire kit, and basically put myself in front of Lorena with this like alcohol spray bottle, and I'm posted there, ready to spray this creature if it charges.
Yeah, it is effectively charging towards the group of you. So if you want to do a proactive thing here, you can do that. Do you essentially want to use this to try to harm it?
Or deter it, anything of that nature.
Okay.
So yes.
Okay, excellent. So in this case, you'll choose the fight skill and a personality to invoke. What personality would you like? Do you think is appropriate here?
I think cunning. Remembering that these things are weak to alcohol, knowing that I'm not good with the fire, and swapping those right off the bat. I think seems cunning.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe, perhaps.
Go ahead and roll cunning and fight.
Right.
The number of brills that you roll here are essentially turned into vitality damage, and then we subtract any resistance if the creature has any resistance. In this game system, I don't roll anything ever. I just tell you what to roll, and essentially we'll see if you do anything there. And remember, we do have passion. Passion's very
Alright.
good
I was
until
going
you
to
burn
use,
out.
I was
I
going
need
to
to
use
just
passion.
check mine.
Absolutely, I was using passion. So, and then mostly because I have no fight. And then passion dice 2. Yes.
Yep. Ooh.
No good.
Okay. You rolled 1 gloom. I imagine that the way that this looks is essentially it's coming towards you, and you are trying to use this cleaning agent to like spray it, and it isn't quite as effective as you thought. You see it splashing onto the ground, and it just sort of, with a monstrous dexterity, supernatural, just slides out of the way. You can see a smear of blood as it displaces itself, dodging this.
That is my attempt.
Yes. Aubrey, what do you do in this moment?
So many thoughts in Aubrey's mind. I mean, it seems like Zeki and Yuli are taking charge of, hey, let's defend ourselves. I think there's a part of Aubrey that wants more information about this, is like kind of just like obsessed with like this thing and why it is here. But I also don't want Aubrey to just like freeze and be like, hey, hold on, I want to look at this. I think Aubrey doesn't like being in this room at this moment. And I think is going to take the initiative and do the thing that was immediately in their head, which is maybe trying to distract it and lead it to a place. But I also, yeah, I guess if Zeki and them are starting to move, then yeah, I'll distract it. Why not? And so I think there is like an immediate like, hey, like clapping of my hand and like moving in a way where so it's not looking at either Zeki or Yule. And like just like throw myself in the yeah, like just like throw myself like, hey, hello, hey, over here, come on, look at me.
Okay.
That's what I'm gonna try to do.
I think that this would probably be either a defiance or audacity and express.
I'll do Defiance Express.
Okay.
And you know what? I'm passionate about this in this moment. I'll
Nice.
spend passion to do that as well. So that'll give me 66 in total.
Wow.
2 and 2. Ooh, no successes. Let's go.
You're calling out, and I imagine perhaps the reason this isn't as effective as you think it would be is essentially it's like throwing itself up against the wall, up against the counter, and it's just thrashing so wildly that it's just things are falling down. The clattering of pots and pans, it sort of washes you out. There's just too much going on in the moment.
Understandable.
It is now the creature's turn. It is going to attempt to strike Zeki. So Zeki, you can try to endure or avoid this if you like, as you see this just sort of crash, and it puts out this claw with this monstrous paw, almost akin to a bear, down towards you.
Zeki has, wants to get a move on it next time, and so doesn't want to get caught up, hands up, grappling it. So is just gonna turn and let it strike and hope that they can take the hit while they get the fire kit going.
Okay. So this will be physicality, and you can choose what personality you think would be appropriate.
either defiance or audacity, because I'm just like, do it, sucker. Like,
Yeah. Whatever, dealer's choice.
Audacity, because I'm legit just like, hit me, go.
Okay.
We're gonna. Oh, sorry. I roll a standard roll on this.
Yep. So you add your
I forgot.
personality
You
and
never
skills.
have to roll. You told
Yes.
us this.
I just get to see here and
Okay.
cause chaos.
So it's not the skill, it's just the personality on something
It's
like
both.
this.
So this will be your physicality plus your
physicality. Oh
personality.
my god, and I was literally like between physicality and fight. Now that I remember character creating, I'm like, dang it. Okay.
0
No failures, but no
successes.
successes. We're sitting in the middle here.
Okay. You take this slash, and as you do, you take 2 vitality damage
Okay.
as it rakes this claw down your arm and your back.
Cool.
That is a very heavy and grievous blow. So that taking 2 of your vitality, you have... Actually, you being unbonded, you have 5 remaining.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're chilling. You're not on the same level as everyone else.
Not these soft bodies. Come on.
What is Zeki's disposition here as you take probably the most harm and pain and suffering that you have ever felt before?
I think they are gritting through it because like they have not had an easy life. This hurts and it sucks, but they've lived a life where they're like, it's time to grin and bear it, and we're just gonna like take this hit knowing what it is. Because sometimes you gotta take a hit, like you gotta let it happen so that you can come back and do something stronger. And so they fully do like grunt and kind of like curl a little bit, like, you know, but they're also trying to like stay tough in the like, is that all you got, you stinking monster kind of way.
It is
They're
now
trying to act like it didn't hurt, but it hurt.
yeah, and it is now your turn. What do you want to accomplish here?
Oh, is it my turn already?
Yep. Oh, sorry, Lorena. I'm so sorry. Lorena, you go next.
Okay. I was like, oh, okay.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm last.
So, in initiative, am I still able to use portfolio?
You can, depending on what it is. What would you like to try to accomplish here?
I'd like to use the tools and equipment part of the portfolio.
Okay.
To make a like creme brulee roaster kind of thing up here, since that would make sense because it's in the kitchen.
Okay.
I'm not really sure technically what it's called. I've never made a creme brulee, but I know they have the little torch thing.
Oh, the little like
sometimes in
hand
there.
torch. Ooh, okay. Okay, you can burn your portfolio, and there's one there. What do you want to do with it?
When Yuli got hurt and did they drop the cleaning agent, or
I was
is it
not
still in
there.
hand
I
and just didn't do it?
I just didn't. I was not ineffective.
Okay. I'm not like how. I'm not sure how much time someone has like in it, but I would like to at least either communicate to that we could like use it together, or Lorena grabs it. I'm just not sure how long the like I guess turn entails.
Yeah, so this is less of like a, you don't have to worry about like, oh, you have a certain amount of time between each one. This is essentially just trying to help tell the story in a certain like pattern.
Okay.
So you absolutely can communicate whatever you need to.
Okay. I think that this, because the way that I'm framing it and how I want to attack it with the rolls is kind of like obsession and fight. I think that this is one of those where the lab manager part of Relena kicks in, where there are things, smaller creatures for sure, that have either been ruined around, and that's how she's familiar. So this is now like, oh, this needs to be done. And Yuli doesn't really hang out in the lab that much. So she grabs the cleaning agent from Yuli because they're really close together, and as well as the torch, and kind of tries to, like Ox body spray and
Yes.
lighter like at the creature.
Okay, I would say that this Like you wouldn't have to roll for this, especially because with the torch you will basically be able to do a literal spray of it, and you're essentially turning this into a makeshift bomb. And as you do so, can you describe to me what's going through Lorena's head and how she's feeling? Does she scream anything out loud as she is going to do this attack and inflict some harm onto this creature?
I think that while she's doing this, she's like really just trying to protect her friends. Like that's the most important part. So she's kind of like kind of like a like just letting out the emotion, like yeah, like kind of that way. She's not like a very deep toned person at all. That's just Jade. So it's a very like higher pitch, like like battle cry, if you will, from a lab person that would have a battle cry. Like, but she's standing her ground because she knows that if it doesn't work like this, then they're all screwed.
A flourish of fire bathes over this creature, and you see it curling on itself, the smell of cooked meat permeating the air as it recoils from the group of you. It holds its too many arms over itself almost protectively, and it begins to crawl and rush away into a different room, buying you some time. It didn't expect its quarry to bite back. You only have seconds to do your next move. What do you do? Zeki.
It's me? Okay, cool. I mean, if it ran away. You said, so Lady Lorena investigated and there was goop there. Was there anything else? Was it like, is there anything there that indicates it came from here? Like the way you're describing the goo, is that like a egg? Like, did it hatch? Did it get put here?
As you're trying to find the source of it, you realize that there is more of a concentration coming from the direction of the pantry. You realize that it's covering all of the entirety of what used to be a latch to the basement.
Cool. Do we want to get out of here, or do we want... It came from down there. It went that way. We want to go this way. What's everyone say? Because we could try and block this. We could try and run from that.
Usually I'm a fan of curiosity, but I also value my life and everyone else's.
We can throw it in the fireplace. It's lit. It's ready.
That or we could get into the basement and maybe find one of those tunnels to get to our carriage.
I like
Okay.
Yuri's plan.
Unless there's more down there.
It
You want
does
to know?
seem it came from down there.
Chances
I did not
are
notice
this-
that, but
I wouldn't put more than one of these in the house, would I?
Oh.
if it, I'll trust you on that. This is not my area of expertise.
No. It came from down there. It is possible there are more down there, which is why I asked if you want to continue away, in the away direction. But
Away. Yes, then to the carriages, maybe.
yeah, so
Yeah.
I assume we're all gonna start heading that way, but while we're still in the kitchen and I have the make fire stuff, I am gonna look, since the kitchen stuff was just right there, I'm gonna look for grease. Like,
Yeah. There is a tub full of grease. This will effectively take you 2 hands to carry because it's a lot, but it's
I don't
there.
want the whole tub.
Okay.
Is there like...
You can pick up a handheld pot.
Yeah, I'm looking for like a glass, like a scoop, or like something that I can take a small amount
okay.
of.
There is a gold encrusted embroidered decanter that's definitely meant for wine.
Fanciest grease bomb I ever did make. Like,
Yeah. And I think that Lorena would be still carrying both things with it.
Hey,
all right, move.
all right.
And also, like, just Oh, there was a latch to the basement, you said? And it was in
There
the pantry?
used to be a latch. It
Fuck, okay.
broke
cool.
through.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Fudge.
Yeah. Are you still headed towards the West Wing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The group of you quickly regroup and begin to move through the house. You hear another scream coming from the direction of the basement as you begin to enter this part of the mansion. And it sounds a little like Clarissa. As you enter the West Wing, you can see that the walls around you are still reinforced, but there are no decorations here. There is a heavy layer of dust that has settled onto the halfway between construction here. You see that there are materials kind of strewn about. There is a bar of metal here, some bolts here, some reinforced glass on the ground, essentially. And then you also find tools to dismantle all of this. Zeki, you would know it would take time, and it would be loud.
We are not getting through this quickly. There's no alternative? Like, that's the only...
So effectively, you're in a room. The West Wing comes to kind of like a dead end. It's a pretty large room, kind of like a ballroom, and there are windows. The construction was basically done. They just haven't cleaned up in here.
Oh,
I mean, we didn't
Yeah.
try the front door, technically. Chances are, I mean, this place is, well, yes, this is kind of like a thing to keep things in. Again, I don't think it's for us. I think it's for that. We could just, I'm at a loss. I'm at a loss. Unless we throw the thing in the fireplaces. That's the idea.
I would like to burn another portfolio.
Okay.
Specifically, wardrobe.
Wardrobe. Okay.
Things that are related to wardrobe would be jewelry, watches, and would love to take out my pocket watch and set the alarm and throw it as far as I can in the other direction.
Okay. Absolutely. You do so and you huck it. How much time are you trying to buy yourself?
I'd say 5 minutes, maybe. Just because Zeki said it will take a while, and I'd hope it wouldn't be more than that.
Zeki, looking down at the tools used to build this wall, could potentially at least break it down or make it a little less fortified.
All right. Well, then... I don't know what just happened, though. So what was the...
So Yuli threw a watch that had
Yeah.
essentially an alarm on it, so it buys you some time.
To
Oh.
distract the creature in the other direction while you're making
Ah!
this.
Okay. Cool. All right. Well, then, I guess... try and stop anything from getting through here, and... if anyone wants to help me over here, and I'm just gonna start picking up the tools and, like, going... like doing a quick analysis of where the weakest point might be, like possibly not the windows themselves since they're reinforced, but the paneling between the windows. I'm wondering if like there's an area to like, you know, wrench those apart or something like that.
Yeah, so go ahead
And I
and
can help with
Yeah.
the... I was gonna say, so we can maybe bypass the roll, if I could help with like seeing what's missing from the fortification.
Ooh, perfect. Lorena. You being very familiar with enclosures, you would know that the weakest point in enclosures tend to be the front door.
Front door.
It's a piece of the structure that's meant to move. And because of that, that generally means there's hinges, there's a weak point. Maybe that might help.
I hate to say it, But we have to go to the front door. Or a door. This isn't a door. We need to go to door.
No, you're right. There have been very few doors in here. Okay. Refocusing the tools and like.
I'm so sorry.
trying
No, I understand. No one ever listens to House Star. We're just a bunch of fools who don't know what we're doing, obviously. Let's go! Front door!
You can make us all feel bad about this later. Right
I
now,
will
let's
make
all
you
try
feel
and
bad as
survive.
we go through and after.
Aubrey, have you been just holding a bunch of books this entire time? Okay.
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay. The group of you quickly scramble over towards the front door, and Zeki, it is locked. But however, you do find that it does swing inward, and so maybe you can do something with the hinges. And as that happens, the group of you finally making your way there, Yuli, you can hear the familiar ringing of your watch as you had hucked it back into the kitchen. You hear another crash behind you. What do you do?
Not the direction the other creature went, correct?
No.
No. We should hurry up. There's another one.
I'm working as fast as I can. Listen, I'm not getting double time right now, okay?
Lorena's like squared up with the contraption. Makeshift flamethrower.
And Aubrey.
Just holding my books. Holding my books and saying, I told you all. I said it. You should come to the front door. No one ever listens to Aubrey.
Yeah,
no.
yeah,
Aubrey's
we
just a
get
quack.
it. You were
Aubrey
right.
doesn't know what they're talking about. Of course it was the front door. Obviously it was the front door. Why else would it be any other door?
Zeki, go ahead and roll craft and ingenuity for me.
Can I do passion? Because we are...
Yes, absolutely. In fact,
Okay.
I encourage it.
Okay, cool. Let's do this, and this, and this, and...
Okay.
And,
So, no, this is fine. So, because it's passion, you have 2 successes and 2 failures. Essentially, what will happen here is you will be able to get the door open, but you're not going to be able to get it open in time. As you start breaking down one of the hinges, you realize someone is going to have to get in the way so that you could finish doing this.
I need more time. I'm sorry to say it. I know we already tried, but I need more. And I'm just like going at it.
Yuli, do you have another watch?
No, that was the only one, unfortunately.
Well, I'm certainly glad that we put that little clause in my living will. Maybe not living so much longer.
Yes.
Oh,
Focused a
Yuli,
little
you've
too
got
far long
this,
on that.
correct?
Is it wood? Lady, the books. If we burn some of them, we could at least toss them in the way. The fire may be distraction.
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No.
Then
the
you
books
die.
are
We all
here.
die then.
Absolutely, yes.
But Yuli, you do something. That's your job, right? Yuli, no, the
I immediately
books,
take
these
the
are
book.
sacred.
I take one of the books.
No, you fool! That is
hand it to Lorena and grab another.
that is important
Lorena's doing
information.
that, and Lorena's doing that and just kind of shaking their head because they know that this is just typical Aubrey, and also is going to rip part of her skirt to also help with this and kind of connect this to be like a semicircle.
Okay, you see, just as you are finishing up the creation of this makeshift firebomb, the side of the stairs cracks and bends sideways as one of the creatures emerges from the kitchen. You get to see it up close again. This one is different. It seems to be halfway, something like a lion with a human face growing out of the side of its mane, distorted, jaw distended, and you can see that it has a human-like spine coming out as ridges along its back. As it begins to prowl forward. Lorena, you have the tools.
I'm going to do it the same again. When it's in range enough. I guess I'll probably would, because I have the offensive tools, be a little bit further, probably to Yuli's dismay, so I can hit it before it hits anybody else.
Okay. You see, as it begins to gain speed, you set off your bomb, and essentially it catches fire and spreads in a line across the hallway with the fuel of the books and the fabric, and it buys you just enough time as you whoosh, tink, the last hinge breaks, and now one of the doors is loose.
Can I just like, since like the hinges are off and like the door is loose, can I just pry it open? Is that possible?
Yeah, you
I'm just full force like get us out.
Yes, as you begin to pry it, it begins to fall inwards, and I need everyone to try to dodge out of the way as this heavy, heavy, heavy door comes crashing down. Can I get physicality and cunning from everyone? Good luck.
Oh, I got really worried for a second. I didn't have anything.
Okay.
Don't
Oh wait,
have
that's wrong.
anything.
That's wrong.
So if you don't have anything, you could try passion.
I could try passion.
Oh, I didn't know you could do that for the defense.
Yes, you can use passion for
Ah.
any roll. So go
I would
ahead and
absolutely love to.
add some dice there. Okay, so... Okay, let's see here. All right. That is 2 successes for Yuli. That is... 2 successes for Zeki. 1 success for Lorena. 0 successes for Aubrey. Okay, so what we see here is essentially Yuli and Zeki. The door comes crashing down. You both get out of the way. You see Lorena, you basically get clipped by it. So you do take a bit of like superficial damage here as it just bounces off of you. Aubrey, you get flattened.
I'm too distracted by the books that were taken from me.
Oops, no.
Okay, so Aubrey, you are essentially under the door here and you're pinned in place. The rest of you, you have managed to wriggle out of the way. The escape is ahead of you. The monster is pushing up against the fire line. What do you do?
Get Aubrey out. Like, gotta like, come on, buddy. Get out from under there.
The
Boy.
books.
And I would take Lorena's hand and pull her out the door with me.
What the?
We will get the carriage. We can swing around. They can get in. We have to get that now. He says, probably lying.
Lorena just
Swing the
really
carriage around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Zeki, you don't really have time as this creature descends upon you. I'm going to need another check here as it tries to hit you before you can get Aubrey free, but Aubrey will get free here. So, please roll me.
Yeah.
Physicality or fight, and actually, you can use any personality trait here.
I'm gonna say audacity again.
Okay.
I'll use the fight because that makes sense.
Okay.
But like, you know, we're like, no, we got in here together. We're getting out of here, you know, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna use passion because I don't want to die.
We're getting close to burning out on passion.
Oh, son of a.
No.
Wait, no,
this
those
is good.
fives count, right?
Yes, you have 2 successes. Okay, you manage to pull Aubrey out as this claw comes crashing down. You hear it wincing and crying out in pain as a fire washes over its body. It cuts the air right where you used to be. You pull Aubrey out, and the two of you stumble out into the dying light of the evening.
Sorry, Aubrey. Library's closed. Let's go. Cutting it close here, bud.
We got
No,
nothing.
no, we're moving.
We got
Find the
nothing.
carriage.
It was for nothing. Those people died for nothing.
Lorena, Yuli, you easily find the carriage. The person who was attending the carriage is still there. And what do you want to do? What orders do you give this person?
We're leaving now. And I open the door and kind of shove Lorena in the carriage and shut the door behind her and get up front with the driver.
Okay. The driver says, are you expecting anyone else?
If we see them, yes. If not, we go. It's ruined. We have to go now.
Right, let's go. Yeah! And he hits the reins and the horse begins, and the carriage begins to pull out. Zeki and Aubrey, you stumble out right as you see the carriage pulling up towards the front gate. You're gonna have to book it.
Okay.
Come on, still like... Buddy, it's time to
Aubrey,
use that
everything
big
hurts.
brain.
It's fine. The books are gone. The books are gone. That's fine. I'm working on some theories right now. And like, why was that? Like, as we're running, it's just like, maybe it was an accident. Maybe it was made on accident, or maybe it was made for real. And like, we're just trying to catch up.
Yeah. So
Trying to get this.
you managed to grab the back of the carriage, and Aubrey, this is the first time you've ever been on the outside of a carriage, but desperate times. You managed to hop on before the velocity gets too fast for you to grab, and the four of you escape from Monsmith Mansion as it begins to careen down. You see the driver, Yuli, look back behind, saying, "What happened there?"
They were experimenting with ruin, I think.
Oh. None of you were
That house
hurt?
is- No.
Not bad, and she's kind of like rubbing her sides where she got hit by the door. Hubris. I've seen it before in the college, but outside, inviting guests while you do dangerous things.
That or are we hoping for us to be used in the experiment?
On the back of the car with Aubrey, since I think we're just like, are we just like on the back of the car, you know, like in the old timey when the kids grabbed on the back of this, like the streetcar, and you're just like sitting on the back of it holding on. I have one arm holding on and I have the other arm try to keep like a safety keeping Aubrey on because I don't trust them.
There is,
and
as you're holding on to me, there is very much like I'm holding on, but I'm also just like leaning back, so you are having to hold on to me so I don't just fall.
Aubrey, hear me out. Listen, for your next book, go ahead and just call it Monster Craft Mansion, because we didn't get it the first time when we heard the name Monsmith.
Okay. Oh, and like immediately like has forgotten about the books. That's a good point. That's a really good point, actually. Hey, do you think that the silo were the things there to run the house? Were they, and just like it just starts rambling on. Yeah.
Yeah, meanwhile, inside, Lorena and Yuli, eventually, Yuli, you get to swing into the carriage to attend Lorena. The two of you have a moment to breathe as the wagon is continuing down towards your way back towards the city.
And you're fine? Yes?
Bit shaken. I don't ever like to take violent means against creatures, but I guess I'll have to give ruined creatures a pass.
Yeah. I do apologize for the loss of your cousin. But this, I suppose, was what they
probably kick in later, but I appreciate everything that you did and that you have done and everything that you will do.
I'll put out more feelers for next time we requested an audience. I'll have to make sure I review any paperwork they send over with more scrutiny.
And maybe pack one of these. It was very useful.
I'll let the chef know that you'd like one.
As the camera begins to pull away, we catch one final glimpse at Lorena relaxing back into the carriage against the cushion, gazing out into the darkening countryside. Lorena doesn't notice. The smudge of ruin on her dress slowly begins to spread. And on the outside, Zeki and Aubrey, you are having this wild conversation, as you always do in the current company. It is cold and the wind is biting against you as it grows further into darkness. Zeki, you roll your shoulder where you have been hurt, and it begins to sting a little. As we see the carriage pull off into dying light, that will be where we end our session for today. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here with us. Thank you so much to our wonderful cast. And again, thank you so much to Studio Hermitage for sponsoring this one-shot. We are going to go around real quick and reintroduce everyone at the table. Please tell me who you are and where we can find you. And we'll start off with Jade.
Hey y'all, I'm Jade Valkyrie. You can find me everywhere on social media at Jade Valkyrie. Here on YouTube, it's Jade Valkyrie with a 3 at the end, and also on Twitch though. And you can also find me on the Twitch channel Feywild and Out. We are preparing for an upcoming Mass Effect Universe D&D 5e series, but there will be more details about that, and I will post on social media. Thank you so much, and we'll pass it, I guess, to whoever Stella calls on next.
Ian.
Hi, yes, and once again, I am Domestic Dan. That's where I am everywhere. You can find me Twitch, the X thing, and Blue Sky, all that. It's Domestic Dan. I already forgot the second question. No, I did. I answered both. It's who I am and where you can find me. Boom, done. There it is.
Thank you very much. We'll hand it over to Fawn.
Hi, I'm Fawn. You can find me at Fawn and Games. That's Faun and Games, kind of like fun and games, but with more antlers involved. And I stream over on Twitch.tv Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I also do the YouTube thing, and you can find me in places doing stuff. And thanks so much for this game. It was awesome. And I'm ruined. Yeah, cool.
Well, technically, with Unbonded, you do have a measure of ruin resistance. So it is a big question mark. What will happen to Zeki? You may never know. Thank you very much.
To have a little alcohol bath. Maybe I just need to.
Yeah. Maybe you'll be
fire bath.
fine. A little fire bath. Oh my god. Kendo.
Hi, my name is Kendrick or Kendo, whichever you prefer. You can find me everywhere on the internet that matters at Kendo Makes Films, and you can find my actual play podcast. Also anywhere on the internet that matters at Tales Get Told, and also wherever you get your podcast.
Thank you very much. And I'm StellaLuna on Twitch, StellalunaTV on all other social media. Thank you so much for having me. I really encourage everyone to please pick up your free copy of Our Brilliant Ruin through Drive-Thru RPG. It's a very wonderful book. All of the mechanics, all of the lore, everything that we've shown here on the stream are in the book, and it gives you such a wonderful insight into the world of what remains of the Dramark. And we will be passing it over to a restream of Roleplay Relay's adventure, The Carriage of Justice, so please stay tuned for that. Other than that, we hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening, and stay safe out there.